it's time for us to look at some news here, and oh my god, it's coming back. It's really coming back, right? Childhood, my childhood. I thought it was dead, but it's making a comeback. Toys R Us is coming back. My apologies at the beginning of the video regarding my hair. Yeah, I look like frickin' Dr. Doofenshmirtz when it's not even combed properly. But with all that being said, I thought that that very piece of my childhood was gone for good. But when I saw this news just earlier, I felt like, wow, I did not see it coming. But in a good way. I'm talking about one of my favorite stores since childhood, Toys R Us. 6 months ago, it was about to die, but now it's ready to make a comeback, baby. There may be a second act for Toys R Us, which shut down hundreds of stores over the summer. A group of investors said in a bankruptcy court filing Tuesday that it is scrapping for an auction for Toys R Us's assets. The investors believe that they'll do it better by potentially reviving the toy chain rather than selling off its parts. And that's a smart move in my book. The investors said that they'll work with potential partners to develop new ideas for stores in the US and for other countries that could bring those iconic brands in a new reimagined way. And by iconic brands, I mean Hot Wheels, Barbie, Star Wars, WWE, Transformers, Power Rangers, etc., etc., etc. Like many of the toy brands and video game brands that we all know, love in the past, present, and the future. All generations here that have been to the store for quite some time. Toys R Us suffocated under a staggering $5 billion debt load before liquidating its U.S. assets this year. A leveraged buyout hobbled the company, and hundreds of stores were shuttered in June to the dismay of the children and numerous generations of one-time children. Now, that right there must have been the very, very sad summer that we all had to deal with, in my opinion. Because we would never thought that Toys R Us was going to suffer and it was going to die here in that very summer, that we never thought it was going to go away. And then 6 months ago, but 6 months later, it's going to come back, baby. The seeming end of Toys R Us rippled through the toy industry and beyond. When the company closed the doors at some 800 stores, more than 30,000 people lost their jobs. Less than a month later, Mattel said it would cut more than 2,200 jobs, partly because of the lost sales to Toys R Us. When Toys R Us suffers, then the rest of the other toy companies suffer. Economists were caught off guard that month by the slow growth in jobs, particularly retail, and some blame the collapse of Toys R Us. There were a net gain of 7,000 retail jobs in July, but the overall number was weighed down by the loss of approximately 32,000 jobs in the category that includes games and toys. That figure correlates with the number of Toys R Us employees that were cut loose without servants' pay. Toys R Us was overwhelmed on the several fronts in the months leading up to its filing for bankruptcy protection. In addition to the debt that it was saddled by its private equity owners, Toys R Us found itself in a battle with seemed death with Amazon.com and other toy big sellers like Target and Walmart. The current asset holders did not go into detail on how the company, which maintained its headquarters in Wayne, New Jersey, would thrive in such an environment. Yeah, when Toys R Us was about to die out, it left a huge hole in the toy market. I mean, when you rely on Target and Walmart and Kmart, where they have like a bit, not that much, but like a fraction on what compared to Toys R Us have, I mean, you don't have that much. You only get about like the common stuff that you would see mostly when you're wandering around on the toy aisles in a Walmart or a Kmart here and there. But there's just nothing special. Like, there's anything interesting that you could possibly find. Whereas Toys R Us, I mean, they have a lot more, where, especially when you can find exclusives that you cannot find anywhere else. Now, with all that being said, my thoughts on this when I saw the news that they were about to make a comeback by the time that they have canceled their bankruptcy, I marked out. The kid inside me, that childhood spirit in me, it was bursting out of joy. Like, seriously, it was bursting out in joy because I thought this was gonna be gone for good, and all we see is nothing more but big empty stores that are just like hollow temples, like hollowed abandoned temples that our childhood has once was. But now that they're planning to make a comeback, it, it's the best thing here. But they have to do it right. They have to restructure their online store. Like the online store in terms of their structure and the way how they do it, it was just a bit of a mess. Like really an unorganized clusterfuck of a mess. I mean, they got some really cool stuff and some great deals, but the online structuring, it was just bad, and it was no wonder why it was one of the factors that hurt Toys R Us. Also, if they wanted to make a comeback, they gotta do it like one step at a time. Like they just can't rush it in with all their eggs in one basket. Like you gotta do this one step at a time. And also, like you gotta bring back like the most recognizable, world-renowned brands that we know, like from Hot Wheels to Barbie to the video games of like Nintendo, PlayStation, and Xbox, of course, obviously. Transformers, Power Rangers, Pokemon, and every single brand that you could possibly think of that has been around with Toys R Us since its existence. Also, you gotta bring in the news. You gotta bring in the new stuff, the exclusive stuff like we never seen before. Just like and my little sister loves BT21, so they gotta sell BT21 merchandise. You know, with plushies, the dolls, etc., etc. They gotta bring that back. Also, if you want to win back the customers here, you gotta give them good, easy, affordable prices, giving them great deals to some great toys, and that'll help you out there. Especially that when the holiday season is about to come up here. It's October right now, and when it gets to December, you gotta give them great deals. You gotta find a way to market how you sell your stuff afterwards. You know, like you can't just rely on what happened in the 80s and the 90s and trying to sell it in 2018. Overall, I cannot wait for this to come back. I wanted to see it done right. I want to see it in the best way possible. As long as they don't put all their eggs in one basket, I will be cool. I just want to see it succeed and make sure it'll be enjoyed for generations to come. This is HDX signing out. You're all. And one more thing, Toys R Us, please lower or like cut your prices in half. Give them the better deals on when it comes to video games, so you could stick it to GameStop, because GameStop sucks ass. I'm just throwing that out there. Just please, on all seriousness, just one of GameStop, because GameStop sucks. Just throwing that out there for you. Alright, this is